Hi, I'm Will Blackstock, Deputy Emergency Management Coordinator with the City of Clute, Texas. Today we're going to talk about creating a family disaster plan. Creating a disaster plan is an important step to ensure your family is prepared in case disaster strikes. Disasters can include natural disasters such as tornadoes, floods, hurricanes, blizzards, or man-made disasters such as power outages and terrorist attacks. A disaster can strike with little to no notice, and it can cause people to evacuate their home immediately, or it may trap you in your home for an extended amount of time. Often during a disaster, basic services such as electricity, gas, water, telephone, cell services may be cut off for an extended amount of time. The best time to develop a family disaster plan is before a disaster strikes. Here in Brazoria County, we are often thinking only about hurricanes, but over the last few years, we have seen many different types of disasters, both natural and man-made. We've seen hurricanes, river flooding, freezes, widespread blackouts, water supply contaminations, COVID-19. A good disaster plan should be specific enough to make sure you and your family are prepared for a disaster. Some things to consider about your risk are we in a flood zone? Are we worried about river flooding or storm surge? What evacuation zone are we in? Do we live in a mobile or manufactured home? And can our home withstand the expected disaster? The next topic to consider when designing your family disaster plan is evacuations. Should I stay or should I go? It's a big question that many families will face when a storm or other disaster is expected. In general, you should plan to follow the orders given by your mayor or county judge. As part of your family disaster plan, you should have a plan in place on what you will do when an evacuation order is issued for your area. There's three main options to consider when putting together your family's evacuation plan. First, stay at home. If no evacuation orders are given and you feel like your home can withstand the expected winds or disaster and you're not in an area subject to storm surge or flooding, staying at home is an option. However, please do not ever ignore mandatory evacuation orders. Secondly, you can look at staying with a relative, a friend, or in a hotel outside of the evacuation area. Make arrangements in advance to know where you're going and to have a plan on how to get there. Lastly, you can look at public shelters or evacuation sites. If you have no other options, consult your local officials about options for public sheltering and evacuation. In Brazoria County, we are set up to partner with Hays County to evacuate our residents in the event of a disaster. When dealing with a tropical system or hurricane, remember the adage, run from the water and hide from the wind. Storm surge is one of the deadliest parts of a tropical system and is responsible for nearly half the deaths associated with hurricanes in the U.S. When you see a storm surge forecast, remember that these are expressed in feet of water above ground level. So if the storm surge is calling for 6 to 10 feet, that is 6 to 10 feet of water above the ground. When developing your family disaster plan, it's important to note that there is no one-size-fits-all plan. Each family and each individual has many different circumstances and situations to consider. Some special considerations to keep in mind as you develop your plan are the ages of your household members, any responsibilities for other persons or families. For example, do you take care of an elderly neighbor? Special dietary needs, medical needs, including prescriptions and any required equipment, disabilities or functional needs of family members, and pets or service animals. These are all things that are very unique to each family and should be considered as you develop your plan. For additional information, look at some of these resources: ready.gov, Brazoria County Department of Emergency Management, and FEMA.gov. Thank you, and I hope this helps everyone to create a plan to protect their family during a disaster.